I've got a lot going for me on paper. I've got great academics. I'm a leader in a number of clubs. I've got a lot to be proud of. Well, except for one crucial thing. I've never been with a girl. But unlike most guys, I don't think about doing the types of things with a girl that most guys think about. Yeah, that's right. I said it. I don't think about sex. Imagine that, a 25-year-old male who doesn't think about getting laid. Crazy, huh? So what do I think about with girls, you might ask? It's pretty simple. I want a shoulder to cry on. I want someone to show me that they care about me. That's all. Lately, there's been this one girl. I didn't like her when I first met her, but we got to know each other, and she's pretty cool. One day, however, I was having a bad day, ironically because of another girl. I went and talked to her and told her what had happened. She expressed a lot of sympathy and told me that she cared about me and that I was a good friend. From that point on, I couldn't look at her the same. I began thinking about her as though she was watching over me. I guess you could say she felt like a mother figure to me, which is what I really want, by the way. But lately, things have soured. She doesn't look at me the same or talk to me the same. I try acting cool, nothing. I even tried ignoring her, still nothing. She isn't the first girl I've had this experience with. The same thing has happened before. I meet a girl, things are going well. I start to kind of view her as kind of a mother figure, and things go sour. I don't understand how the simplest thing, companionship, could be so hard to obtain. I guess the reason why I feel the need to have a mother figure is because I never felt very loved growing up. I didn't have the best relationship with my mother, or my father for that matter. I never felt nurtured. I felt emotionally isolated and all alone. So I guess I'm trying to make up for not feeling loved. I don't want a romantic relationship. I just want that warm, cozy feeling of knowing that somebody cares about me. But I've yet to achieve it, and I wonder if I ever will.
Let me start by blaming the whole thing on my wife. There, I feel better already. The story begins with a little curl of flower wallpaper that had come through the bathroom wall. One morning in May, my wife reached out and gave it a gentle tug. Now, it was a not quite so little curl. I guess we can redo the bathroom, she said, as a smile moved across her face. And so our summer of troubles commenced. I took the whole thing badly at first. Sure, I knew I'd be free to go to the hardware store anytime I pleased. But as I had more construction skills, I figured I'd end up doing more of the work. This was irrational. Since there are categories of everyday housework where she always does more than I do. But you know how marriage goes. It's not easy to see the fairness when you're in one facing each other. Of course, she'd been imagining a better bathroom for some time. She's more visionary than I am in several categories of daily living. And so I started peeling off whole broad sheets of wallpaper, tossing them out in the hall. When she saw the bare, glue-stained walls, I hoped she'd understand the cost of her vision. Instead, she was overjoyed with the progress we were making. This bathroom, as tiny as it is going to be transformed. I got to work pulling down crown molding, removing the shower doors. I turned off the water. I took out the sink and vanity. I sliced linoleum to see what was underneath. Pulled down, pried off the lower molding. We inspected faucet displays at Lowe's, lighting displays at Home Depot, and molding displays at Manologues. I put together sawhorses for backyard painting, we took turns painting the beadboard panels that covered the lower half of the walls. I pulled the old metal medicine cabinet out of the wall, put up a chunk of wallboard to fill the ghastly hole. I painted the ceiling 3 times white. And the upper walls 4 times autumnal orange. I put new fittings on all the water pipes coming into the room. We lifted up the toilet, looked down the floor pipe into the darkness. I carried the toilet to the back porch where my wife gave it the cleaning of the century. While I put new tiles down on the bathroom floor. I nailed the beadboard onto the walls and, oh, there's more, but you get the picture. As the weeks went by, I came to a keen understanding of the limits of my own skills. Several times we took a few days off, but even then, I looked in the bathroom each evening after work, tried to figure out how to do the parts I didn't know how to do. Crown molding is bad enough, but crown molding on a crooked wall? I confess, the bathroom is still not. But it's getting. When I stand in the hallway and I look in, I see the bright new colors, the shiny surfaces, the fresh look of things. And I can tell in a few more weeks, it's gonna be great. When friends drop by for a visit, they'll finally be allowed to use the bathroom.
Don't want. Don't desire. Don't dread. Don't explore. Don't pursue. Don't challenge. Don't argue. Don't talk back. Don't. Growing up, don't was a big word. Even if it wasn't always spoken, it was there, hanging over every thought, every action. I heard no more than I heard yes. I was taught to toe the line, to conform, to be what was expected. I was always curious, always challenging, and never really fit the mold. My friends weren't always the right friends. My thoughts and ideas were nearly always wrong, or unwise, or immature. Don't think. Don't disappoint. Don't get angry. Don't be depressed. Don't be happy. Don't take risks. Don't be proud. Don't be weird. Don't live. In my early teens, I think, the don't became more frequent. Maybe it was our slipping out of middle class to lower middle class. Maybe it was me getting older and rebellious. I just know that the don't became even more commonplace. As an adult, I still fight the don't. It still lingers, though much quieter than in my youth. My parents still imply don't, more than they imply do, or we're proud of it. They're offended that I ignored their don't. They're offended that I found a path different than what they wanted for me, and I don't always understand their frustration. I've learned to listen for the don't, and take that as a cue to do.
You think it won't happen to you. Thought it wouldn't happen to me. Thought it couldn't happen to me. How could it? How could I, a fairly strong person, just let this happen? weakness, depression, anxiety, doubt, darkness. Rape. I said it. Saying it doesn't make me angry. It's been years, and I've never talked about it, except with the person who did it. I let her. So how was it rape? I let her. But I didn't let her. I said no. Then I opened my eyes to see her on top of me. I guess I knew it was coming, but I thought saying no was enough. I got angry. She cried. I had to feel guilty for what she did. It's not just women. It's not just men in jail. It's not just boys who are molested by their teachers. It's not just the defenseless. It's not just any one group. It can happen to anyone. Or maybe I just want to think it can happen because it happened to me. No, not angry. Sad. And a little broken. I suppose I'm still not over it. But a week or two ago was the first time I thought about it for a long time.
One day, many years ago, in 6th grade, the boys were divided from the girls for a single hour of sex education. All the boys in the room already knew there was a mystery-laden subject called sex, and now we were going to learn about it. That meant watching a movie about farm animals, cows and bulls. The movie taught us that eggs and sperm are the tiny cells that got the whole process rolling. Something called intercourse was briefly mentioned, but the movie made it very difficult to tell how the egg and sperm actually became equal. In spite of this hazy middle ground, somehow a calf was produced, all slippery and revolting. The cow licked the little critter clean, and nursing commenced. The classroom lights came on, and sex education seemed to be over. But not so. There was still time for anonymous questions. Each boy was free to write a question on a half sheet of paper. We folded these over and passed them in. The health teacher piled them on the table. He unfolded one and read it aloud to his very alert audience. How does the sperm get to the egg? I sympathized greatly with the question. That part of the movie had been scrupulously discreet. The teacher resorted feebly to the term that the movie had failed to define through sexual intercourse, he said. He unfolded a second sheet of paper and read aloud another question. How did the sperm get to the egg? It was the same question, and the gracious Tony repeated the same answer. Well, as I said before, through sexual intercourse. He unfolded the next sheet. How did the sperm get to the egg? Nearly every one of my classmates had written the same thing. That day, unlike other days at school, we all wanted to learn something in particular, and we all thwarted our quest for knowledge by the cowardice of the film. The health teacher was in no position to take the matter further, and I suspect he was as happy as a schoolboy when the bell rang and he could dismiss the class. The adults, it appears, preferred that I learn on our own about the hazy middle ground, and I guess that's what many of us eventually did. Decades have passed since that sad day in the history of American public education. Since then, I have witnessed the birth of both of my children. I saw them cleaned and wrapped in their first swaddling clothes. I saw each of them many times fall asleep warmly satisfied after nursing in their mother's arms. My children themselves took health classes and entered the world of euphemism. The world is a hazy middle ground. Middle school sex education had not improved in all the intervening years. I read the pages on the physical and emotional changes of adolescence in today's middle school health book. Judging by the book, human reproduction involves cells and genes, but not sex. Judging by the book, adolescence involves emotional changes and a new interest in social life, but not physical attraction. Outside of school, American children are surrounded by images of sexuality, many of which are plainly destructive. But in school, we're afraid to talk about it. What else are we afraid to talk about? Teenagers spiraling into eating disorders and other self-destructive behavior. They experiment with alcohol and drugs. They learn to accept abusive relationships. Their lives are at risk, while adults, indifferent or afraid, offer them euphemism. Young people know when they're being abandoned.
This was what I wanted. Some alone time with my dad. He was not sleeping at home anymore, so I didn't see him much. Of course, I didn't see him much when he was. I wanted so much to bond with him and have a good time. After a dinner with more awkward silence and conversation, we went into the living room. Let's see one of your punches. Yes, this is what I was hoping for. Tips on being a man from a man's man. My dad grew up being a fighting guy, and he could still hold his own. He held out his hand for me to punch it. I hit it. Come on, hit it. I hit it. Come on, stop pussyfooting around. Hit it like you're angry. Get mad. Hit it! I hit it, and I hit it, and I hit it. And I could tell I was failing. Instead of feeling strong, or like I was winning his approval, I could tell that I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't tough enough, and I was going to lose him. I was a disappointment, and he was not sticking around. To make matters worse, I broke down in tears and sobbed uncontrollably. I didn't want him to even see me at that point. He grabbed me and held me close and told me it would be all right. He went over how I could hit harder, but I barely remember any of that. I knew I had lost. I lost my dad, and he never did move back in with us.
I can remember that day back in 2001. I was in 8th grade. That day that I got caught with a page out of a dirty magazine. I was sitting in my drama class. It was cold in my room, so I asked the teacher if I could go to my locker and get my jacket. Let me back things up. A few weeks earlier, I had been at a friend's house hanging out when he showed me his collection of adult magazines. He ripped out a page that displayed two women having sex, and he showed it to me. I was somewhat intrigued, but not really aroused. I never really got aroused by looking at pictures of people having sex. Nevertheless, for some odd reason, I took the picture, crumpled it up, and put it in my jacket pocket. Fast forward to a couple weeks to the present. I'd just gone to my locker to get my jacket, same way I'd stuffed the picture in, although by this time I'd forgotten all about the incident a couple of weeks earlier. I grabbed my jacket, went back to class, sat down, and began reading. Minutes later, classmates came up to me and asked excitedly, "What were you doing with that picture?" "What picture?" I asked. "That picture you had in your pocket." Wait a minute, I thought. feeling around my left jacket pocket. Oh, shit! I realized I had apparently left my jacket pocket unzipped in a picture which I had forgotten all about. Fallen out. My drama teacher walked by, spotted it, picked it up. Word spread around the school, my mishap. I became a laughingstock for the entire year. Damn near everyone had heard about it and got a big laugh out of it. And eventually, so did I.
I can't find his grave. The first time in the 26 years that I've been alive, and the 25 that he's been dead, I'm coming here looking for it alone, and I'm failing miserably. But I guess the frustration at not being able to find the marker does kind of distract from the bottomless suicidal misery that brought me here. See, I'm not really even sure what I was hoping for. I mean, maybe, I don't know, some sort of guidance or answer from the ghost of my father, which was a lot more than the long line of live-in lovers that my mom had when I was growing up that formed the demons of my youth. My real fathers only existed in stories and anecdotes, as my relatives recall him making cold-hearted people laugh, and how happy and excited he was to finally be a father. And I am not. See, I was tricked in to fatherhood. I was trusting the untrustworthy. And not being able to conceive that such an evil, capable of such a selfish and despicable act, could be in such close proximity, I let my guard down. And she took advantage of that, because I was the only stable thing that she had in her life. So now, my own heart and the state of Indiana are going to keep me legally and financially bound to this evil. In a few short months, I'm going to be a father for the first time, and I'm really in need of some divine intervention, because literally and metaphorically, I am lost. But anyway, it's a beautiful day. It's nice to be outside in it. I mean, my life is definitely going to be more difficult from now on, there's no doubt about it. But there's still beauty to experience. There's still love to share. There's things to create. And I know all the struggles of my youth had made me stronger. And I think that this is too, as long as it doesn't break me first. And I never did find my father's grave. But thinking back on it now, I did actually find what I was really looking for.
I want to go out. I want to get drunk. I want to drink a Guinness and then dump one on my head. I want to go out and talk to girls, to ladies, to women, to flirt, to dance and sing. I want to go out and interact. I want to see the actions of strangers. I want to react to those actions. I want to go out and shake the hands of everyone I haven't seen since the last time I was out, just 3 days ago. I want to hug my friends with a big smile because I'm smashed. I'm just about to be who I was last night. I want to slim a beer and a shot and shoot darts in pool.
Yeah.
I want to stay out late.
Yeah.
I don't want to go home.
Hell no.
And if I must, I don't want to get up and go the fuck to work in the morning.
Hell no.
I don't want a boss.
No.
I don't want a quota.
Yeah.
I don't want to make someone pay for something that isn't worth a shit. I don't want a world that's run like a business, and I don't want a life that's dictated by the dollar. I want to enjoy every second of every minute of every day. I want to breathe fresh air, feel the wind and the rain caress my face. I want to get splashed by a car driving through a puddle.
I want to go out.